The Valerian Empire's flagship Eternal Dawn materialized at the edge of Earth's solar system, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. High Commander Ixura stood on the observation deck, her iridescent scales shifting from deep purple to midnight blue as she studied the holographic displays of the third planet. Behind her, a dozen other ships emerged from fold space, their designs identical to hers, each a masterpiece of engineering that had helped subjugate 100 worlds. Curious, she murmured, her inner eyelids flickering as she processed the sensor data. Show me their global communications again. The air around her shimmered as Earth's internet traffic materialized in ghostly streams of light. Television broadcasts, radio signals, and digital communications flowed past her like rivers of information. According to their intelligence, this was a pre-fold civilization, barely able to reach their own moon. Yet something about their technological signature felt wrong. High Commander, her science officer, Varric, approached with characteristic precision. We've completed our preliminary analysis. The humans appear to be at Technology Index 7, nuclear capability, early space exploration, primitive AI development. They should be approximately 3 centuries from achieving fold space technology. Ixura raised a hand, freezing a particular data stream in midair. Then explain this, science officer. She expanded the frozen information, revealing what appeared to be a children's television show. Their entertainment media contains remarkably accurate descriptions of quantum mechanics. Their science fiction demonstrates an understanding of concepts that should be beyond their grasp. Cultural anomalies are common in developing species, Varric offered. They often imagine technologies they cannot yet create. No, Ixura's scales rippled with certainty. This is different. Look at their power consumption patterns. She gestured, and new data flows appeared. They maintain a planetary energy grid that's barely sufficient for their apparent level of development. Yet their population continues to grow, their cities expand, and their industry thrives. Where is the strain? Where are the brownouts? The resource wars? Varric's scales shifted to a troubled green. Perhaps they are simply efficient. Or perhaps, Ixura's voice dropped to a whisper, we're not seeing everything there is to see. She turned to her tactical officer. Launch the probe drones. Standard first contact protocol. Let them detect us gradually. I want to see how they react when they realize they're not alone. As the drones descended toward Earth's atmosphere, Ixura couldn't shake the feeling that something was fundamentally wrong with this picture. In her 3 centuries of service to the Empire, she had overseen the integration of dozens of worlds. Each followed a predictable pattern: panic at first contact, desperate military response, eventual submission to the Empire's superior technology. But as she watched Earth's reactions through the drone's sensors, she saw nothing. No panic, no emergency broadcasts, no military mobilization, just business as usual. High Commander, her communications officer called out, we're detecting increased activity from their space observation networks. They've spotted our drones. Ixura waited for the chaos to begin. Instead, she watched as Earth's major news networks calmly reported the presence of unknown objects in the sky. Social media buzzed with speculation, but there was no fear, only curiosity and excitement. Send the standard greeting, she ordered. Let's see how they handle the truth. The message was broadcast globally in every human language. People of Earth, you are not alone. We represent the Valerian Empire, guardians of order in this sector of the galaxy. Your world has been chosen for integration into our civilization. Prepare for formal contact within 1 planetary rotation. The response came almost immediately, a simple text transmission in perfect Valerian. Welcome to Earth. We accept your invitation for contact. Please proceed to the following coordinates for diplomatic reception. Ixura's scales turned pure white, an involuntary reaction she hadn't experienced since her academy days. They responded in our language, a language they should have no way of knowing. High Commander, Varric's voice shook slightly. The coordinates they provided. Therefore, a facility on their moon. A facility our sensors showed as uninhabited moments ago. Ixera stared at the blue-green planet below, her certainty crumbling with each passing moment. They had come to uplift a primitive world, to bring another species into the Empire's embrace. Instead, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was standing on the edge of something vast and unknown. A mystery that had been waiting patiently for someone to discover it. "Prepare my shuttle," she ordered, her scales settling into a determined copper hue. "It seems our hosts have been expecting us." As her crew rushed to comply, Ixera gazed at Earth once more. In all her years of service, she had never encountered a species that reacted to first contact with such composure. Either humans were the most psychologically stable species in known space, or they had been waiting for this moment far longer than anyone could have guessed. The lunar facility materialized before Ixera's eyes like a mirage taking solid form. Where moments ago there had been only cratered regolith, now stood an elegant complex of crystalline domes and sweeping archways that put Valerian architecture to shame. Her shuttle sensors struggled to maintain a lock on the structure, as if reality itself was uncertain about its existence. "Impossible," Varric whispered beside her, his scientific detachment crumbling. "The energy readings, they're beyond anything in our database." The shuttle's pilot, a veteran of 1,000 landings, hesitated before the designated landing pad. "High Commander, I'm detecting. I don't know how to describe it. It's as if the landing zone exists in multiple states simultaneously." "Proceed," Ixera ordered, her scales shifting through shades of anticipation and unease. As the shuttle descended, she noticed something that sent a shiver through her central nervous system. The stars behind the facility seemed to bend, ever so slightly, as if space itself was being gently folded around the structure. A human delegation waited for them beneath a towering arch that seemed to be made of flowing light. 3 figures stood calmly as Ixera and her team disembarked, 2 females and 1 male, wearing simple blue uniforms with no visible weapons or defensive systems. The central figure, an older female with silver-streaked hair, stepped forward with a warm smile. "High Commander Ixera," she said in flawless Valerian, "I'm Director Sarah Chen of the Earth Diplomatic Court. Welcome to Tranquility Base." Ixera's diplomatic training warred with her mounting confusion. "Director Chen, your facility, your language capabilities, none of this should be possible at your civilization's level of development." Chen's smile widened slightly. "Ah, yes. About that. Perhaps we should discuss the interesting assumptions the galaxy has made about Earth over the centuries. Please, follow me." As they walked through the facility, Ixera's sensor suite, the most advanced in the Empire, continued to report contradictory data. Corridors seemed to extend indefinitely before suddenly resolving to reasonable lengths. Rooms appeared to occupy the same space without intersecting. At one point, she was certain they walked across the ceiling without gravity shifting. They entered what appeared to be a conference room, though Ixera suspected that description was drastically insufficient. The walls rippled with patterns that suggested deep space, and in the center of the room floated a holographic display unlike anything she had ever seen. A perfect, real-time representation of the entire solar system, down to individual dust particles. "You're wondering about our technological disparity," Chen said, gesturing for them to sit. "Why our public face shows one level of development while other aspects of our civilization suggest something else entirely." "You've been deceiving the galaxy," Varric interjected, his scientific curiosity overwhelming protocol. "But why? And how? The energy requirements alone for this facility would be impossible using conventional physics," Chen finished for him. "Just as it would be impossible to hide a civilization's true nature from spacefaring observers. Unless, of course, one had mastered something far more fundamental than mere energy manipulation." The holographic display shifted, zooming in on Earth. Layers peeled away, revealing something that caused Ixera's scales to turn pure white once again. Beneath the surface of human civilization, beneath the cities, The power plants, the familiar infrastructure of a developing world, lay another Earth entirely. Vast networks of impossible architecture extended through bedrock and mantle, facilities that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, power systems that drew energy from what appeared to be reality itself. 3,000 years ago, Chen continued, humanity faced a choice. We had discovered principles that your civilization would call impossible, the ability to manipulate not just space and time, but the fundamental nature of reality itself. We saw two paths before us: reveal our power to the galaxy and potentially destabilize countless developing civilizations, or become silent guardians, watching and waiting as other species found their own paths to the stars. Ixura's mind raced through the implications, the philosophical transmissions we detected, the entertainment media showing advanced concepts, ways of preparing our public for eventual contact. Chen nodded. We've maintained two civilizations simultaneously, the public face that everyone sees, and the true extent of human development. It's been an interesting cultural challenge. But why reveal yourselves now? Ixura asked, her diplomatic training finally reasserting itself. Why allow us to see behind the curtain? Chen's expression grew serious. Because the galaxy is changing, High Commander. We've detected disturbances in the quantum fabric of space-time that suggest something is coming, something that will require all advanced civilizations to work together. We chose your empire for first contact because, despite your tendency toward expansion, you've shown wisdom in governance and respect for developing worlds. Before Ixura could respond, alarms blared through the facility. The holographic display flashed red, focusing on a point just beyond Neptune's orbit. Chen's face hardened as she studied the data. It seems, she said grimly, that some elements of your empire didn't wait for diplomatic channels. We're detecting a battle fleet emerging from fold space, 50 ships, heavy arsenal configuration. Ixura's scales rippled with shock and embarrassment. The War Council, she hissed. They must have monitored our transmissions and decided to seize the initiative. Director, I assure you. Chen raised a hand, her expression now carrying a hint of sadness. No need for apologies, High Commander. We've had plans in place for this scenario for a very long time. Would you like to see why humanity chose to hide its true nature from the galaxy? The holographic display shifted again, showing the approaching Valerian war fleet. As Ixura watched, space itself seemed to ripple around Earth. The battle fleet, pride of the Empire's military might, suddenly found itself engaged in a dance they never trained for, a dance with reality itself. The Valerian war fleet approached Earth with predatory grace, their weapons charging with enough power to reduce continents to ash. From the lunar facility's observation deck, Ixura watched with a mixture of horror and fascination as her own people prepared to unleash devastation upon a world they didn't truly understand. Your ships are impressive, Director Chen said quietly, standing beside her. The crystalline lattice design, the fold space drives, the plasma weaponry, all hallmarks of a Type IO civilization. 300 years ago, we might have been genuinely concerned. The holographic display showed the fleet spreading into attack formation. Standard Imperial doctrine. Surround the target, overwhelm planetary defenses with synchronized strikes, accept surrender within hours. Ixura had seen it executed dozens of times. But this time was different. The first sign that something was wrong came when the fleet's forward elements attempted to launch their targeting drones. The small craft simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, not damaged. They vanished between one moment and the next, leaving no trace in normal space. We call it quantum filtration, Chen explained, gesturing to the display. Selective removal of objects from our space-time reference frame. The drones still exist, technically speaking. They're just elsewhere. Elsewhere, perhaps. The fleet's commander, apparently startled by the loss of the drones, ordered the first wave of ships to open fire. Lances of plasma, hot enough to pierce planetary crusts, speared toward Earth's atmosphere. They never arrived. Instead, the energy weapons seemed to twist in space, their paths bending like light through crystal, before gently dissipating into harmless radiation. Quantum field manipulation, Chen continued, her voice taking on a lecturer's tone. We discovered long ago that reality is far more mutable than most civilizations suspect. What you call physical laws are more like suggestions, guidelines that can be politely declined when necessary. Ixara's scales shifted through patterns of disbelief as she watched the pride of the Imperial fleet struggle against an enemy they couldn't even detect. Ships reported systems failures, weapons refusing to fire, engines responding to phantom commands. Reality itself seemed to be rebelling against their presence. We're receiving a transmission from the fleet commander, one of Chen's assistants reported. They're demanding immediate surrender and threatening to deploy their Nova bombs. Chen sighed, a sound containing both resignation and determination. And now we reach the part where we must demonstrate why we chose to hide our true nature from the galaxy. Initiate Protocol Omega. The space around Earth. Change. There was no other word for it. The very fabric of reality seemed to fold in on itself, creating patterns that Ixara's eyes refused to process. The war fleet, nearly 50 ships of the most advanced design in known space, found themselves suddenly occupying the same space as their own quantum shadows. Think of it as a mirror, Chen explained, watching the fleet's confusion. We've shifted them partially into a parallel probability state. Each ship now exists in multiple quantum realities simultaneously. Their crews are experiencing every possible outcome of this battle at once. Victory, defeat, stalemate, and 1,000 other variations. It's disorienting, to say the least. On the display, the mighty ships of the Valerian Empire hung motionless in space, their crews trapped in a quantum superposition of all possible realities. Ixara watched as some vessels simply winked out of existence, their commanders choosing to retreat into fold space rather than face this impossible enemy. You could destroy them all, Ixara realized, her scales showing patterns of awe and fear. You could have destroyed them the moment they arrived. We could, Chen nodded, just as we could have revealed ourselves centuries ago and dominated the galaxy. But that was never our goal. Humanity chose a different path, to watch, to learn, to protect when necessary, but never to conquer. A new alert flashed across the display. The fleet's flagship was transmitting again, this time on all frequencies. The message was simple. We request cessation of hostilities and immediate diplomatic contact. Chen smiled slightly. And there it is, the moment when understanding begins to dawn. She turned to Ixara, her expression serious. Your empire prides itself on bringing order to the galaxy, on uplifting primitive species to a higher level of civilization. But consider this. What if the greatest mark of civilization isn't the ability to impose order, but the wisdom to know when not to? The remaining ships of the war fleet hung suspended in Earth's orbit, their crews now fully aware of the gap between their perceived superiority and the actual state of human development. Ixara watched as reality slowly normalized around them, Chen's people gently releasing them from the quantum superposition. 3,000 years, Ixara murmured. You've had this power for 3,000 years, and instead of using it to dominate, you chose to wait, to hide, to let other species develop naturally. With great power comes great responsibility, Chen quoted, smiling at some private joke. An ancient human saying, but no less true for its age. We learned long ago that true advancement, true civilization, can't be imposed from outside. It must grow naturally, through struggle and triumph and occasional failure. The holographic display shifted again, showing not just Earth's solar system but hundreds of others. In each one, Ixara could now see subtle signs of human presence, hidden outposts, cloaked observers, silent guardians watching over developing worlds. So now you know, Chen said softly. The question is, what will your empire do with this knowledge? The emergency session of the Valerian High Council was unlike anything in imperial history. The crystalline chamber, designed to hold the Empire's most powerful leaders, now hosted something unprecedented. A human delegation. Director Chen stood calmly at the center of the vast space, her simple blue uniform a stark contrast to the ornate regalia of the council members. Above them, a real-time hologram showed the aftermath of the failed invasion. The remaining Valerian ships hung motionless in Earth's orbit, their crews still processing what they had witnessed. But it was the new sensor data that held everyone's attention. The true scope of human civilization slowly revealing itself across the galaxy. Observation posts in 57 systems. First speaker Tarixian announced, his scales shifting between disbelief and grudging respect. Quantum tunnels connecting distant sectors. Technology that breaks what we thought were universal laws. And all of it hidden, right under our sensors, for thousands of years. We call it the Guardian Initiative, Chen replied, her voice carrying easily through the chamber. A network of watchers and protectors, ensuring that every species has the chance to develop naturally, without external interference. And who gave you the right? Demanded War Minister Kex, his scales flashing aggressive reds. Who appointed humans as the galaxy's secret guardians? Chen's smile held a hint of sadness. No one gave us the right, Minister. We took the responsibility. When we first discovered quantum manipulation, we saw what could happen if such power was revealed too soon. We saw civilizations burning themselves out trying to match capabilities they weren't ready for. We saw wars fought with weapons that could unravel reality itself. The hologram shifted, showing scenes from human history. We made our mistakes early, Minister. We learned our lessons in isolation, where our stumbles couldn't harm others. The power to reshape reality came with a choice. Use it to dominate or use it to protect. We chose protection. High Commander Ixara, now standing with the Council rather than the military command, stepped forward. You protected us from ourselves, didn't you? All those natural barriers to quantum manipulation we thought we'd discovered, they were your safeguards. Gentle nudges, Chen corrected. Guidelines that help developing civilizations discover safer paths to advancement. We never prevented any species from making breakthroughs. We just helped them avoid the more catastrophic possibilities. The chamber erupted in debate, council members arguing over the implications. Thousands of years of scientific understanding were being rewritten in a single session. The Empire's most basic assumptions about its place in the galaxy were crumbling. Enough. First speaker Tarixian's voice cut through the chaos. Director Chen, your demonstration of power was convincing, but it leaves us with a difficult question. Now that we know of your existence, of your true capabilities, what comes next? Chen gestured, and the hologram transformed again. Now it showed something new. A massive disturbance in spacetime, spreading slowly through a distant sector of the galaxy. This is why we revealed ourselves, she said, her expression grave. 3 months ago, our quantum sensors detected this anomaly. Something is coming. Something that exists outside normal spacetime. We believe it's drawn to civilizations achieving quantum manipulation capabilities, and we believe it's hostile. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. How long? Tarixian asked. At its current pace, 5 years, perhaps 6. Time enough to prepare, but only if we work together. This threat isn't something humanity can face alone, nor should we. The galaxy's species have developed different strengths, different approaches to science and warfare. Unity and diversity will be our greatest weapon. War Minister Kex leaned forward, his scales now showing patterns of tactical calculation. You're proposing an alliance. More than that, Chen corrected. We're proposing a partnership. Humanity will share some of our quantum manipulation technology, carefully, gradually, with appropriate safeguards. In return, we need the Empire's strategic experience, your fleet coordination capabilities, your diplomatic connections with other spacefaring races. The hologram shifted one final time, showing a new structure taking shape in neutral space, a massive station unlike anything the Empire had seen before. "This will be the headquarters of our Joint Defense Initiative," Chen explained. "A place where humans and Valerians can work together openly for the first time, preparing for what's coming. We're calling it Project Dawn." First speaker Tirikshin studied the image for a long moment before turning back to Chen. "You understand this changes everything. The balance of power, the structure of interstellar relations, the very nature of what we thought was possible." Chen nodded. Change was coming whether we revealed ourselves or not. "At least this way, we face it together, as equals. Your empire prides itself on bringing order to chaos. We offer you a chance to help establish a new kind of order, one based on cooperation rather than conquest." The council chamber fell silent again as the Valerian leaders considered the proposal. Outside, Earth's sun rose over the horizon, its light refracting through the crystalline walls in complex patterns. To Ixara, it seemed like a perfect metaphor. Illumination revealing new facets of reality, new possibilities hidden in plain sight. 6 months after the failed invasion of Earth, the Project Dawn station hung in space like a dream made real. Its quantum crystalline structure shifted between states of matter, its very existence a testament to what humans and Valerians could achieve together. From her observation pod, Ixara watched construction drones weaving impossible patterns into reality, guided by human quantum engineers working alongside Valerian architects. "We have work to do," she said simply, turning away from the window. The time for watching and waiting was over. The Age of Unity had begun, and with it, the greatest adventure in galactic history. As if in response to her words, the station's quantum core pulsed again, its crystalline structure resonating with possibilities. In its depths, human and Valerian scientists worked side by side, unraveling the mysteries of reality itself. Above them, construction continued on the greatest cooperative project the galaxy had ever seen. And in the vast darkness between the stars, something ancient and powerful drew ever closer, unaware that its approach had catalyzed precisely what it sought to prevent: the unified advancement of all sapient life. The silent stars were silent no longer. The dawn of a new era had begun.